Hello everyone, my name is Alexis and welcome to class today. I have a really fun, restorative, just delicious empowerment yoga flow. We're going to begin kneeling at the back of your mat. Bring your hands over your heart and we're just going to begin by checking in. Breathe in and out through your nose and ask yourself, how are you doing today? How do you feel in your mind, in your heart, in your body? And where do you feel less than expansive? What would you like to be empowered to do or to be or to think or to feel? Whatever that is, hold it within you as we move through this class. Go ahead and open your eyes and come forward into tabletop pose. And we're just going to begin with cat-cows. So on your inhale, you're going to broaden across the chest. And on exhale, instead of going into cat like we usually do, you're going to sit your hips back into child's pose. So you're going to be flowing through inhaling into cow pose and then exhaling back into child's pose. Inhale forward into cow and exhale back into child's pose. And just continue like that. And as we do in cat-cow, we usually try to find a little bit of fluidity in our cat-cow. I want you to try and find that same fluidity here as you're moving through cow and child's pose. Almost imagine like your whole body's creating a circle. Beautiful. Come back up into tabletop pose. Walk your hands forward an inch or two, curl the back toes under, and push your hips up into your downward facing dog. Make sure that your sternum is falling to the mat, your hips are lifting up to the ceiling, and your body is a long line of energy from your hands to your bum. Come forward into plank, lower yourself all the way down into the mat, and inhale, lift up just the chest into a baby cobra. You can keep your hands on the mat or you can lift them up. Breathe, press the tops of your feet into the mat to help stabilize you. Lower down, push yourself up into plank and back into downward facing dog. Beautiful. Step the right foot forward, coming into low lunge, letting that left knee come to the mat. Make sure the right knee is directly stacked over that right ankle and let the hips sink forward, inhaling the arms up overhead. Continue to breathe here, but keep your core as engaged as possible, just to give you a little bit more stability. Beautiful. Bring your left hand to the mat and circle that right arm up to the ceiling, coming into an easy twist. If you want to lift the back knee off the ground, you're welcome to, but it is not required. Breathe here into your twist. Curl those back toes under. If you haven't already, lift the knee off the mat, coming into your high easy twist. And then we're going to lift right up into your high lunge. All of the same rules apply. That right knee is still over the ankle, pressing into the mat with your feet. Clasp your hands behind your back and open up the chest pretty gently. We're not going for a deep back bend here. We just want to broaden across the collarbones, create a little bit of space in the chest. Beautiful. Release the clasp of the hands. Bring that right hand back behind you to the left thigh and reach the left arm up and over, sort of into a twisted reversed lunge. You're not going to go very far here, and that's okay. Beautiful. Cartwheel the hands down to the mat. Step back into plank pose. Beautiful. And then make your way to downward dog however you want, whether that's through chaturanga and up dog, lowering down to the mat and cobra, or just pushing back into downward facing dog. And when you've arrived in your downward dog, walk it out for a second, and then bring the left foot up in between the hands, lower the right knee to the mat, coming up into your low lunge on the left side. And again, same, left knee directly over the left ankle, push into the mat with the left heel, lift up through the chest, engage through the core, and lift the arms up overhead, and breathe. Find a little bit of ease in all of that work. Let the right hand come down to the mat and circle the left arm up to the ceiling to come into a gentle twist. And again, if you want to lift that back knee off the mat, you can. And if you haven't, go ahead and curl the back toes under. Pop that right knee off the mat, coming into your high lunge easy twist. And then from here, almost like someone has grabbed your left hand, lift yourself up into your high lunge. Course it through the ribs. Clasp the hands behind your back, but this time make it the weird way. So whichever thumb is currently on top of your hands, switch the grip of your clasp so the other thumb is on top now. Changing it up a little bit. Keep pressing through the feet into the mat, letting the hips fall towards the ground. Release the clasp of the hands. Let that left hand reach towards the right thigh behind you and reach the right arm up to the ceiling, up and over into a revolved, twisted high lunge. Beautiful. Cartwheel the hands down to the mat, plant the hands, and once again, make your way back to downward dog however you want. Yogi's choice. Do what feels good. Don't push yourself, but maybe challenge yourself if you feel up for it. And once you've made your way to downward dog, lower the knees, coming into tabletop pose, and then sit your hips back onto your heels. Keep your knees straight in front of you in line with your hips, and then come into your child's pose. We're going to be moving from our child's pose to an upward facing dog. So on your next inhale, rock yourself up and forward, letting your hips drop and your knees lift off the mat, coming into upward facing dog. And then push yourself back into child's pose, letting your knees come back to the mat. And just begin moving like that, inhaling forward into up dog, exhaling back into child's pose. Just like we did with our cow and child's pose variation. We're doing the same thing here, moving between child's pose and up dog. Beautiful. Just a couple more times. Beautiful. And then press yourself back up into downward facing dog, however you need to get there. Rock forward into plank, lower the knees, and lower your chest all the way down to the mat, to your belly. Bring your hands just outside of your shoulders. Press the tops of the feet into the mat and press the hips into the mat. You can come up into Sphinx if that's where you are today. If you want to continue to challenge yourself, you'll lower yourself down to the mat. Bring your hands back by your hips, palms facing down, and on your next inhale, you'll lift your shoulders off the mat. Breathe out. Next inhale, lift the legs off the mat as well, keeping the shoulders lifted. And if you really feel like you can lift the arms, clasp the hands behind you, coming into your full locust posture. Lift through the chest, really engage the core so you can press the pubic bones into the mat. Press the hips into the mat. Beautiful. Lower everything down. And press yourself back up into downward facing dog. Take a breath here in your downward facing dog. And then we're going to bring the right knee to the right thumb, coming into pigeon pose. If you need any props here, grab them. You're welcome to sit up on a blanket or a block underneath your bum. And you can stay lifted up, or if you want to fold forward over that front knee, you can. And if regular pigeon isn't accessible to you, you can always lay down on your back and come into figure 4, which is bringing one ankle on top of the opposite thigh and then hugging the thigh towards the chest. Lift yourself up if you were folded forward. Press your way back into downward facing dog. Walk out the legs, wiggle the hips, whatever you need to do here. And then we're just going to switch sides. So bring the left knee to the left thumb. Relax down into your pigeon pose. You can stay lifted up or you can fold forward. And if you were lying down and doing reclined figure 4, just switch legs. So the other foot, the other ankle comes on top of the opposite thigh, and maybe pull the thigh in towards your chest. And lift yourself up. If you were in full pigeon, press yourself back to downward facing dog. Walk it out, wiggle the hips, whatever you need. And then come down onto the knees and sit back onto your bum. And we're going to come to lie down. If you were in figure 4, you are already where you need to be. Everybody hug the knees into the chest. Rock side to side. And then let the left foot come to the mat and straighten the right leg and just clasp your hands behind your thigh or your shin and pull that left leg towards you. And then flex and point the foot. If you would like to, you can let the left leg go long, but it's not required here. We just want a nice stretch in the back of the right leg without too much strain. And flexing and pointing, maybe doing some ankle circles with that right foot. Whatever feels good, wherever you feel a good sensation and stretch. Beautiful. Hug that right knee into the chest. Hug the left knee into the chest if you had it extended, and let the right foot come to the mat. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Extend the left foot up to the ceiling, left leg. Press through the heel. And clasp your hands either behind the thigh or the shin to pull the leg towards you, and then flex and point the foot, flexing and pointing. Or maybe doing ankle circles if that feels good too, in one direction and the other. And again, if you would like to, you can let the right leg go long, but it is not required. Let that go. Hug both knees into the chest, give everything a squeeze, and then let both feet come to the mat. We're going to come into a bridge pose next. Walk your heels about 5 inches away from your bum. Push through the heels as if you could drive your feet through the floor, and use that energy to push your hips up into your bridge pose. And then lower everything down. Now from here, you have a couple of options. We're going to come into a gentle inversion. Option 1 is to come into a supported bridge, bringing a block underneath your hips. On the block or on the mat, you can lift your legs straight up into the sky. That's option 2. Either way, depending on what props you have. The final option is if you have a wall or a couch, to do legs up the wall. So you'll just shimmy your hip as close as you can to the wall. And from there, you'll just sort of cartwheel your legs up. You might need to use your arms to shimmy yourself a little closer to the wall. And then relax your torso down. Let your feet relax, let your arms relax. and just breathe and enjoy the inversion here. And hug your knees into your chest, rocking gently side to side. If you are on a block, you can remove the block. And then just roll over to one side, letting your body relax and reacclimate from that inversion. Take another deep breath, in and out through the nose. Push yourself up into a comfortable seated position. Bring your hands to heart center and take a moment to thank yourself. Offer a little bit of gratitude for the opportunity to move in a way that can hopefully empower you and encourage you. When you are ready, you can open your eyes. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe because there's always more yoga coming your way, of course. And until next time, have a lovely rest of your day. Bye for now.